So, one. No. So, the way I want to, handle how I do my reviews is I kind of want my video appearing in whatever feed someone sees it in and says, oh, he did a review on this game. Time to buy it. Without even having looked at the review. You know, if you kind of understand the games I like, I would prefer my reviews to be like an implicit endorsement. Even if I spend the entire review shitting on a game. God damn it, there's a freaking Mustang in front of me. Even if I spend the entirety of the review shitting on the game, I want it to be known that generally I'm saying, yes, I liked this game enough that I've spent 30-something hours of my life creating this video just to tell people, hey, I like this game. It's pretty good. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to use my time to just completely shit on a game. So then, which is why it kind of causes issues where games can be fun, but have so many issues here and there that it kind of leaves me by the end or before even finishing it, just saying, I kind of feel like I've had enough of the issues this game has had. And just stop playing. But I still want to talk about it because there was a lot of good and interesting parts to it. But it's weird, which is kind of why I'm glad I'm doing this little car cast thing. This bootleg ass fucking shit where I talk into a microphone on my way to work, because I can kind of talk about games that I think are bad. And just do it very sloppily. And kind of just get my point across without really being like, hey, buy this game. And just leaving that to people, I suppose, at that point. Just making it different. So this game in question is called Skul the Hero Slayer. It's part of me just kind of going through Game Pass for once and actually playing the games that are on it. Even though I've been subscribed to it for way too long without actually touching it. Because I apparently hate my money. And this is a Korean-developed, side-scrolling, platforming roguelite. And God, you can tell it's Korean immediately. Small tangent about Korean music. At least with, side-scrollers kind of deal. I don't know if this started earlier than MapleStory. I'm only familiar with it being MapleStory, but every single Korean game I've ever heard has had fitting music that does not sound like it would fit. The sounds they use are completely made up noises. You remember back in the day, with old consoles, really old fucking retro consoles, the SNES and shit, where they tried making noises to represent the music, but every single game had a completely different kind of sound font to it. It's like Korean music never really developed past that. Okay, yeah, they'll sometimes use pianos and known instruments, but everything else sounds completely fucking insane. I'm just gonna put a couple examples from this game and MapleStory just to kind of convey the sheer craziness. Oh, and maybe Tree of Savior, because that game is a fucking ridiculous soundtrack too. Just to show you, this is the kind of music that when you hear it, you know for a fact you're playing a Korean game. It also didn't help that, like, the game randomly has cutscenes completely in Korean. So that, that was a pretty dead giveaway too, but I knew it before I even heard the cutscenes. The moment that music kicked in, it hit me. So yeah, this game is a side-scrolling roguelike light platformer. One nice thing about it is that it doesn't really have procedurally generated levels. Every room in that game is a set tile, and I think that's really nice. But also kind of shows one of the issues this game has from the start, because you can't even blame the level design on being, oh, it's randomly generated, cut it some slack. No, some of the maps just kind of suck. And a big issue with that is, it gives you very small margin of error to really do anything in. Sometimes you'll be surrounded by ranged enemies, while also surrounded by traps in the environment. But there's no way to not jump the full distance. But doing so, you will always hit your head against, the ceiling traps. So you have to cancel the jump with a dash. But you also accelerate pretty quickly when you jump, and it's not a whole lot of room.
Clear me again. For some reason, I decided to keep talking after I disconnected my microphone, so it sounded like shit. All you need to know for this little cut here is that I said that Skul has no healing, really.
Okay, admittedly, that was a mild lie. There is healing. It's just super rare, infrequent, and small. You can really only reliably heal once or twice per, like before a boss. I believe it is once per boss, because there's a mini boss and then like a full proper area boss, and you can only heal once in that shop. The annoying thing is, well, the amount of healing you get is also not consistent, because there's one food item available, and it also grants a buff for the next couple of stages. It can range from like 20% healing to, I think, 100%, but the case of the 100%, it's an item that makes you take and deal double damage. So, like, taking that food item is usually more of a detriment than it is a benefit, even if you're at max HP. So chances are you might even just skip the healing item, and that's also if you can afford it. Early on, sometimes you might just get fucked out of the money. For another reason I'll get into. Past that, there's very few items that heal you. I recall 2, basically. One of them heals you for every 10 kills you got, and it heals you 1 HP. That's about, you get 2 HP per room you go through. Another one heals you, I think it was pretty decently actually, but you had to be below 30% HP. And I think it might have been 3 health every 5 seconds? 10 seconds? It was slow. I think if I have footage of it, of when I had that item, I could probably check and put a little thing on screen. Be like, hey, this is the time. And there's like one ability where if you land a killing blow, it gives you 1 HP back. But it's a really long cooldown. So... Also, it does a damage type that's opposite of the character's normal attacks. which also goes into another problem. But I'll take these one at a time. In the meantime, I'll go over a positive this game has. It feels good to play. You know, if you ever played like a Korean MMO kind of thing, it's at least in modern era, not older one. It's a lot of slaughtering enemies generally. Lighter enemies, well, I don't say lighter enemies, but pretty much anything that isn't like a massive tower of fucking muscle gets staggered on a single hit. If you keep attacking someone, they will pretty much never get the opportunity to hit you. Like, straight up period. So long as you're fast enough, that is. Because there are some characters that attack slow enough that sometimes that enemy will get a hit in. So really, your major threats you have to focus on are the few enemies that can kind of like initiate at range. Because many of the really basic enemies don't initiate at range at all. By the time they're in the range to start their windup, you've already hit them. Really, the only time those basic enemies will ever hit you is when you stop attacking them and they're still alive. You try and like dash away from something and then dash back to where you were, and they attack. Like, they're basically there to punish you for just being in that general area. Oh, after like 2 seconds. So naturally this game has you moving around a lot. And kind of just like slaughtering tons of enemies. And just keeping an eye out on the sides of your screen for tells. Like an enemy with a spear, you'll try and look for what he looks like and focus on him while you're just smashing the X button to bash someone's fucking skull in. And then once you see the windup, you dodge, and then he's probably right next to you, so he's now into the slap fest. Or you'll see like a red laser come off the side of the screen, and you know, oh hey, there's an archer. Let me jump, because admittedly, I feel like trying to dodge through the arrows, the timing is just narrow on that. Like, there's not much of a tell right when the arrow's about to be fired, so the timing for me is weird, so I just usually try to jump over it instead. Especially with certain heroes who don't have the best of dashes either. And the way you hit enemies is with one of two characters you can have equipped at a time. These are skulls, naturally. Basically, your character can just like take his head off and put someone else's on and be like, hey, I'm you now. And so essentially, you're playing different characters. And you can swap between them almost at will. There's a cooldown. And whenever you swap, it does like a special effect, like either a buff, or an attack, or something defensive maybe. There's a lot of things out there. Each of them have about 1 to 2 abilities. If they only have one, they will have 2 that you can use at a given time. Every skull has a small rotation of abilities that you can have at random. And they also have passives, usually. Something to give them more of a reason to be used. And I gotta say, they're pretty damn diverse. Like, I'm genuinely impressed by the diversity of characters on display. You have a mummy who is slightly slower than all the other skulls, but he cannot be hurt by traps. He has a gun that will give you carpal tunnel because you can fire it almost as fast as you can hit the attack button. He can like throw his head as a grenade launcher. He can like do like a little vomit blast. I almost want to say this is a reference to Metal Slug, but I could be completely just saying things. Because admittedly, this game does have references. And also crossovers. Like, you can straight up play as the prisoner, I think he's called. I call him Johnny McDeadcell, just because whatever the name they gave him is probably generic and stupid. You can play as Johnny McDeadcell from the hot video game Dead Cells. And another thing that impresses me is that, like, the skulls all have their own unique movesets generally, and animations, like, and art. There's the store page, not on Steam, but like on Game Pass and the Nintendo Switch store, says there's like 90 plus, different skulls. Which is probably true if you count the upgrades, because I feel like I've seen every base level skull and most skulls in the just in general, and it's definitely not 90. Because the thing is, whenever you can upgrade each skull from common to legendary. And I think the unique skulls, which like some of the crossover stuff, can be upgraded once. Each level, they gain more mechanics or buffs to their mechanics, and if they have one ability, they'll eventually gain 2 abilities, and the abilities will be buffed to be way better, and they start becoming more structured characters than kind of like this weird half-baked attempt that many of them suffer from. But not only that, is they gain new art and animations. Every single one of them, when you upgrade them, if you can, they will get new art, which is genuinely impressive because they have to account for, many of them have unique dashes. There's a lot of dodge rolls, there's a lot of side steps, there's a lot of leaps. There's a lot of fucking animations in this game. They'll have different walk animations. They're definitely not using any kind of template. Different attack patterns. Some enemies, or some skulls will have different style of air attacks. Like some will just have a special air attack. Some will have an air combo. Others will do a slam that immediately plummets them into the ground. In fact, some of the dashes are also attacks. They have all of the they have up to, I think some have up to 4 different abilities that you can find at random, and also walk animations. Even just one character goes from dude with a sword, kind of walking, sword goes to his side. Then when you upgrade him, he's holding the sword up in the air as he just prances along. And when I talk about it kind of completing the character, what I mean is taking this knight dude for example. He has he basically doesn't have a combo attack for his default. It's just a single sword swipe, but you can hold the attack button to charge it, and when you charge it, it becomes a little dashing attack. It's pretty much the same damage, which is unfortunate because it's usually not worth standing still to try and do and hit multiple enemies. But he has it. It's there. But his thing is he has an army behind him. He has summons. But when you press the attack button, it summons one dude who does a single attack and fucks off, and it's okay, cool, that guy's useless. So you'll probably drop him for 30 hours until you realize, oh, let me upgrade him. And then the very first upgrade, his summon lasts 10 seconds. And you have an aura that makes summoned allies do 20% more damage. And then the third upgrade, or maybe it's the final one, your charge attacks will build up gauge. No, your third upgrade, you get a second ability, so you can have 2 summons out at once. And your fourth upgrade, your charge attacks will build up a gauge that when it's full, you use it, and it basically gives 100% more move speed, attack speed, and damage to your dudes. So everything finally comes together, that final upgrade, assuming you can get to the final upgrade. But it's cool. These characters are fun to play. They're there's some really cool, interesting play styles there too. Again, I cannot express enough how much art and animation is in this game. One of my favorite skills, even though he's kind of bad until you upgrade him, probably I haven't tried upgrading him, is he doesn't attack. When you summoned him, he has a bomb over his head. He just runs around really fucking fast until he just explodes and it auto switches you back to the other character. You don't take damage, which is great because of the lack of healing, but it's so fucking funny. The reason I keep mentioning, if I upgrade a character, or I haven't tried because I haven't tried the upgrade for the character. That is because, well, This game has problems with how it rewards you sometimes. Actually, just in general, I'd say it has kind of like an overall reward problem. You can only ever get one reward per room. And you can kind of be deterministic with it. But past that, there's a lot of randomness that goes on. There are 3 kinds of rewards you can get. A skull, which you can either change characters, or if you don't want to, it can be broken down into bone shards, which is used for upgrading your character. You will either get money, which is used at a shop, or if you happen to find a rare NPC out in the field, they might, have some service available for a measly sum of money. And the last is an item, which you can either grab or leave. If you leave it or scrap it, as far as I'm aware, you gain literally nothing, which is something that seriously confuses me. You can't just sell an item for money. You can't break it down for experience or shards. Your option is basically pick it up or destroy it, which frankly you might as well just leave it on the ground and not even waste the time to destroy it, because you gain nothing as far as I can tell. So that's also one kind of limiting factor to what, the rewards. If you keep going for items, and you'll know you'll know roughly what you're gonna get by which door you enter. If you enter a glowing green door, it's one that will guaranteed to give you a skull. If you go through a golden door, you have a higher chance of getting items or more gold. But if it's a neutral one, it's kind of like a crapshoot what you get. Sometimes, early on you have a choice. You'll get 2 doors to go through per room. But then eventually it just goes down to 1, kind of removing the entire point of having these doors in the first place. Because at that point it's random, so every door essentially might as well just be the standard gray door. But regardless, so because you can only get 1 reward, if you get too much of one reward, you're just fucked out of the other ones. I've straight up had entire areas where I would get to the merchant, I'd have no money. I would have found literally 0 money to buy anything with. I'm not entirely sure. I believe enemies drop a very paltry amount of money. So you might get 1 item very early on. But unless you're going through the gold doors, you're going to get no money. Or you could just get no skulls and be stuck with the basic skull character, who isn't bad. He's actually a pretty damn good skull, because he just attacks fast, does decent damage all around. But you also won't be able to upgrade anything, because you were never able to scrap any skulls. And upgrades are kind of important because they're very good. Or you just might not have any items. And with the bone shards, honestly, early on you get so few that you really can't upgrade anything. And if you do get enough to upgrade something, you kind of want to dedicate to that skull more, because it's already better and things are only going to get harder. Making a skull you might not be using as much in the first place better isn't going to serve you, because you need to take every action you can that can reduce the amount of damage you take. Because these bosses are tough when there's literally 0 healing from when you leave the merchant's place to when you get to the boss. Okay, I also completely forgot to mention, enemies do have a pretty low chance of dropping a healing orb that heals you 10 HP. Your base is 10, and you can upgrade that by quite a bit. So, at best, it makes up for a couple mistakes. Because admittedly, enemies generally don't do, in like the first half of the game, they don't do more than 10 damage. So you pretty much negate a single hit, and then a little bit extra. It's still not much at all, but it's something. Like, if you're low HP, you're gonna be fucked no matter what, essentially. If you're at high HP, you're just gonna stay at high HP a little bit longer. Like, you're never gonna recover when you reach low HP. But yeah, like, and a big problem with that is you also just don't get many bone shards even if you focus entirely on getting bone shards. If you completely ignore gold, completely ignore items as much as you can, to the point where you just can't buy anything from the store and only have a few items by the time you reach the second area boss, you might have only upgraded one of your skulls to the second form, which is a total of 40 bone shards. It's not much when you have 2 skulls. It's just one of the several reasons in this game that you're just not incentivized to switch and be as fluid as this game otherwise could be. The second, yeah, and that kind of like invalidates some certain skulls, because, like, for example, the bomb skeleton that I mentioned, why would I ever want to switch to him and like spend the time to upgrade him to hope he might be good? I still don't know if he's good or not, because I never actually like upgraded him enough, because he's like a gimmick character that in general, his level 1 form is so just problematic that using him has done way more harm than good, because I'm trying to like stick to an enemy in order to be there when I explode. But in doing so, I almost always take some damage, when I otherwise could have just played normally, killed him slower, and have taken like no damage. Now for the items. This game has an issue with how it handles its items. You get 9 item slots, and there's item sets. So each item has 2 kind of sets that you get bonuses for, and you know, if you have the appropriate amount of items in that set, then you get the bonuses. Some of those sets are really powerful. Some of the items can be very not. Like, not saying the items are bad, but it's more so a case of just how the damage in Skul works. You have physical damage and you have magic damage. There is very little meaningful difference between the two. And just one's an orange number, one's a blue number. You know, I think some enemies might be more resistant to one than the other, but you won't notice it too much at the end of the day. Because you just work with what you got. So this is a problem because sometimes characters can have both damage types. And while there are ways of scaling just generic damage, it's mostly through like increasing attack speed and crit rate, and not like increasing the damage itself. And any items that increase both physical and magic damage will do so pretty conditionally, like an increase while you're in the air, or after a dash, or a set number of dashes, or things like that. It's like they're much more conditional. So early game can suck, but the later game has another issue entirely, where you get too many items. Like I said, you only get 9 slots. Once you've filled those slots out, you don't need items anymore. You can't pick anything up. And unless you get a fucking like end game perk, destroying items does literally nothing. You do not get gold until you buy a fairly expensive perk from your passive tree. And what's even worse is, because of the lack of healing in this game, there are 2 set bonuses that are honestly fucking strong. There's one called Fortress, where every 30 seconds you get like 10 HP, or you get a 10 HP barrier that doesn't really seem to go away. It won't even be less than 30 seconds, but like being able to essentially kind of heal every 10 seconds is pretty fucking good. Like that is a free hit you can take on top of another set bonus, and these aren't like end of the line set bonuses. These are like the very first bonus you get, which at least is kind of nice. You don't have to have the full set. You can just get like 2 items and that's it. But this one is every 45 seconds or so, you just take a free hit. Like literally, you can just get hit and nothing happens. And that's really fucking awesome in a game that's all about just mitigating as much risk as possible. So yeah, when you have skulls that have both damage types, it just gets real fucky with how you build your character. You kind of just have to like focus more on like the default attack, because let's be honest, abilities are strong as fuck. But unless you have like a really fast cooldown speed, you're gonna be using your normal attack way more. To an extent. It really depends on the kind of character. And another fun issue with the limited HP, it really doesn't incentivize you to swap skulls, because you can swap skulls at any time. And when you swap skulls, they have like a special attack or like an effect that goes off. Problem is, there's a cooldown. Like those swap attacks are very fucking strong, but it's still not enough to incentivize you to switch to a character, be locked out of your other character, and the one you switched to could put you at a disadvantage, all for like a burst of damage. Like if you have a power skull, it is basically never a good idea to just switch to them for their attack. You have to make sure you want to use the power skull, or it's a good idea to use that at that time, because power skulls are slow as fuck. They have one dodge almost every time. So being locked down of your actual nimble skull that can help you not take damage, while both your skulls share the same HP, is a really fucking bad idea. But don't worry, that gets fixed by the passive tree, which gives each skull type, I guess I mentioned there's 3 skull types. There's balanced, who's, balanced, good attack speed, good dodge distance, they're fine all around, fast, real fucking fast attack speed, great dodges, and then power, real fucking slow, but they hit super hard. They give each skull type bonuses, and it kind of makes power actually good then, because power, once you put in a fair bit of investment to upgrade this, gets 20% damage reduction while they're out. Pretty nice. Actually makes power skulls kind of useful. God, that passive tree in general just irks me a little bit, because it's like, in a game that's like so tight on healing and everything, just having max HP, like the most max HP you can get out of that tree is 50 extra HP, and also you get a bunch of damage. So like, you just like when you upgrade it, you have way less room. You have way more room to make mistakes, because all the healing from food is percentage based. So it just feels weird, man. Like normally when you look at a game like Dark Souls and you go for HP, you're still kind of like limited by the amount you can heal from your Estus flasks. Like you can only make so much damage worth of mistakes, but having a higher HP pool gives you a buffer from being comboed. You know? Like you can make more mistakes between heals, but overall still the same amount of mistakes, because of the amount it heals is limited. Skul is just the opposite, where the more HP you have, it just directly increases the amount of mistakes you can make, because there's really no other way to heal. And also the healing from the frickin' food is inconsistent. It's between like 20 to 65%. And yeah, the bosses and areas, they can be real fucking annoying to play through. First area, it's fine, it's very straightforward. Second area, it's just the first area in terms of like a straightforwardness, but it's harder. That's good. Good progression there. Third area, yeah, it's harder, more like advanced enemies and mechanics and stuff like that, but Then they introduce enemies randomly explode. There's no way to tell which enemy will explode, but when you kill them, instead of just fucking falling over and dying, they'll like kneel over, exclamation mark will appear over their head, you know, in the sea of 1,000 enemies, and then they'll explode like half a second later, like 1 second later. The tell is fairly obvious on its own, and you know, it takes a second for them to explode, so you can, if you catch it, you'll always dodge it. Problem is when you're like slashing away at like 20 enemies at a time, and you have really busy visual effects going on, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. And the final area can kiss my ass. Like, oh my god, it can kiss my ass so hard. It's like they looked at Dead Cells boss cells, where every time you beat the game, you get a new boss cell, and whenever you apply a new boss cell, it adds more modifiers to make the game harder. Like, I think one of them is basically every time you get hit, you build up stacks of a disease, and if you reach max stacks, you instantly die no matter what. But it can be cleansed with potions. And then you beat it again, and then cool, now all the potion stations are broken, so you have to go through the entire game with like 5 potions. Cool, because apparently people are way too fucking good at video games. I mean, whatever, I'm terrible at Dead Cells. It took me like 30 hours to beat the game by itself. It was fun, but Jesus Christ, that game crushed my balls. But yeah, that area, like, out of nowhere, suddenly enemies will apply a permanent debuff to you. Whenever you get hit by, like, light-based attacks, which, it's a fucking lot of them, like, pretty much anything ranged. If you get hit with anything ranged, and a few melee attacks, you will get a stacking debuff that every few stacks will permanently increase the damage you take. According to a friend of mine, you can, cleanse it by breaking some statues, but I usually destroy destroy everything in my path, items or whatever, and I never had that happen to me. I did see a statue enemy that I killed, but unless I killed it off screen and it didn't count, I could have just gotten unlucky there, in which case I'd be extra pissed. But yeah, like a game where you're significantly punished for making mistakes because there's no healing, or little to no healing, decides to introduce a mechanic that doubly punishes you. Just make the enemies do more damage if you want it to be harder. Don't make it like snowball out of control where all of a sudden, you know, you could be at full HP, you know, manage to somehow heal yourself to max, but you have so many stacks that like you'll die in 4 hits. Like, I do know, like, granted, you do have to take a lot of hits to really build it up, but there's a shitload of enemies that happen in this game, you know? I don't know, it was an issue I had. And then that issue also exemplified another issue I had with the game, is that there's a mid-boss and an area boss. The mid-boss is a set of adventurers. These adventurers are, you know, they're okay. They're not really super tough and complex boss fights. You have like a witch person who throws fireballs at you, has like a super attack. You have like a little Naga nun healer who just teleports around and summons crosses and heals people. Generic shinobi dude, generic warrior dude, and a paladin who basically has one attack where he over and over again screams, "Leroy Jenkins!" Because making a Leroy Jenkins reference in a Korean roguelite platformer in the year 2020, when this game came out, I believe, or 2021, is the most topical any video game has ever been. So yeah, those mid bosses, they're whatever. Problem is, every single area you go to, The mid-boss is those guys, but there's one more of them. In the forest, you fight 1. In the castle, you fight 2. In the dungeon, you fight 3. Or I guess in the manor, not the castle, because in like the fortress castle, the final area, you fight motherfucking 4. It's just the perfect summation of this game. It's just being a clusterfuck, frankly. Like, you have like so much shit goes on that it's really hard to keep track of whatever the hell's going on. So that's Skul. I liked it. I had a lot of fun. So for this little bit of clips, because the second part kind of came up a week after, recording-wise, a week after, I went back to play a little bit of Skul and get some footage. And I liked Skul. I had fun again with it. And then I encountered the problems I had previously, and I'm like, why? I still liked it, but why? It's a weird fucking game, man. Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled bi-weekly, except I uploaded this on 1 month later rambling. So I hit up that vending machine again. At this point, it's kind of just been my breakfast, because like cheap, decent enough portions, and the food is generally like fairly enjoyable. So I've kind of just been returning to that damn sandwich vending machine. And the best part is, like, that vending machine is in the middle. Well, in the middle. It's right next to the cafeteria, but just slightly out of the way that no one I know, or no one I talk to at work, knows what the fuck I'm talking about when I talk about the sandwich vending machine. I'm like, yes, we're gonna go to the sandwich vending machine. And they're like, the what? The fuck are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, the sandwich vending machine. They're like, I have been here for like 15 years. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, legit, one of my trainers has been here for like 40 fucking years. And she looked at me like I was a fucking witch when I was talking about a vending machine that had sandwiches. And I'm like, yeah, it's right at the corner right there. They're like, alright, I'll fucking see what you're talking about later. I'm telling you, I'm advocating for that vending machine. Maybe when the word gets out, it'll actually fucking work with fucking credit cards and shit. Because I swear, it is the only reason in my adult life I've ever carried cash. I hate cash. Especially when you have like nice, fine bills. They're just really neat and orderly. You buy one thing and you're stuck with change that's coarse and rough and just gets everywhere. Especially when you have one of those like card-only wallets. Like I just hate fucking carrying cash, but I do it for the sandwich vending machine. Anyways, I went there and I had 2 choices that seemed appealing, you know, things I haven't tried. Southwest Chipotle chicken wrap and a Caesar chicken wrap, spinach wrap even. And I was like debating. I came to the conclusion, you can't really mess up a Caesar wrap, right? It's chicken, tomatoes and lettuce, and Caesar dressing. That's all, like that's good, right? Oh boy, I think this is our first dud. This is our first dud, gentlemen. It was not good. It was not good. I don't think I can, like, the thing is, I don't think I can, like, individually go in and rate the quality of each component with the love and care it deserves. Because it just tasted like fucking Caesar cream. Fucking just... It was so overpowering. And I don't know if this happens to anyone, but like when a flavor is so like tangy and strong, I get like shivers. You know? Like my body is trying to like distribute the fucking flavor energy throughout my body. It's just too much for my synapses to handle. So it just makes me fucking shake violently. That's pretty much what happened when I had the fucking Caesar chicken wrap. Like the tomato, couldn't taste it. It's probably a decent tomato, to be honest. The lettuce, honestly, didn't even realize it had lettuce because I completely forgot. Oh yeah, prepackaged sandwich lettuce. That's always gonna be nice and wet and crunchy. No. Chicken, you know, unlike the roast beef from that cheesesteak, I forgot, like, it just wasn't good. I forgot that cheap chicken can be way worse than, like, other cheap meats. God, cheap chicken can be bad. Spinach wrap? Oh, fuck, I honestly don't even know. It just kind of tastes like a normal-ass tortilla. Like, well, okay, it tastes like a normal-ass tortilla that was drenched in Caesar salad dressing. God. I ate the whole damn thing because I needed the energy. It was the start of my day. I should have known. I really should have known that at that point it would have been a bad day. That day slayed me. It was like, oh hey, yeah, you know, like everything you have going on, it's very light, minimal. You know, at least ideally, like it's set up to be perfect. The perfect day where you have nothing to do really. But it was the opposite. I got out late. Oh man, that day was so fun. I actually really enjoyed it, but oh, I was exhausted. I also barely slept that like previously. I have not gotten good sleep since I got this job, which fucking sucks. Like right now, I've been up since 3 in the morning. I got like 4.5 hours of sleep. About to work like 12, 13 hours. Sorry, that was my soul trying to leave my body. That little bastard tries to keep escaping. Listen, fucker, I'm stuck here, so are you. But yeah, there was one silver lining today. When I went to get that sandwich from the sandwich vending machine, I got my sandwich and was content with my day. I was about to leave, and I noticed, I turned around just to look, see like, hey, what are the drink choices? Well, there was a drink choice. It was a Diet Mountain Dew. Why? Because someone, don't know why, it was like 5 in the morning. No one was here. No one was around this place. Just ordered a Diet Mountain Dew, grabbed it, and placed it on top of the vending machine, and just fucked off. Like, unopened, perfectly sealed. It must have been there for a while because it was nowhere near cold. So, yeah, I had a Diet Mountain Dew. I'm not a big fan of Diet Mountain Dew. I mean, like, I like Mountain Dew. It's all right. Like, as far as regular Mountain Dew goes. Baja Blast is better. Mountain Dew Gamer Fuel. That one. God. I'm at my old workplace, fucking fast food joint. They had a Gamer Fuel on tap. I'd have like one a day. Bruh. So good. I miss Gamer Fuel. It's the dumbest name ever. It's the dumbest name ever. But it was so good. It was like cherry, citrus. Like orange and cherry mixed together in like a Mountain Dew flavor. Oh, so good. Yeah, that Diet Mountain Dew. I looked around, there was just no one here. I had just gone to the bathroom, so no one was in the bathroom. So there's literally nowhere else anyone could have been. Unless they were like one of the kitchen staff, because it is like right next to the kitchens. But it was just weird. Like it's the fact that it was warm that kind of got me. So I just took it. I wasn't even gonna drink it. That's the best part. I wasn't gonna drink it because I'm trying something else, which is partially saving money, maybe. being a little bit healthier. Because I'll be honest, I grab a soda like every day. When I'm working, when I'm not working. And it's not good. You know, I fully understand that my eating habits are bad. So, first I want to try saving money by just not getting a soda. What I actually did was I subscribed to my gas station's soda fountain subscription. Jesus Christ, this sounds so fucking dystopian. Holy fuck, saying this out loud. Yeah, gas station. For like $6 a month, you can just get one free drink a day, any drink, which actually surprised me. I thought it would just be the soda fountain, but now you can get like coffee, any size, fucking slushy, any size. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, what I do is I go there in the morning because I pass right by it every day. So I go in, fill up a like 64 ounce with some kind of like juice, you know, then be like a tea if they have any like brewed tea there. No ice, and just keep it with me. Put it in the work fridge, and as the day goes, take out my little thermos, fill it up with a little bit of ice and some of that drink, and I'm pretty much good for most of the day. Like, goddamn, that shit lasts. Plus, it like helps me hydrate a little because this shit's mostly fucking water. These soda machines, I'm telling you. Which is something that my job's like, it's like too busy that sometimes you just forget to hydrate. But when I'm looking forward to my next hit of Mango Delight, then I'm more willing to wet my whistle. Although today actually had me like mildly pissed because I go in there, I get my drink. Someone went up to the register to pay, but they didn't have everything. So they like left for 2 seconds to like get some extra change. And because the dude had everything rung up, he didn't want to like cancel the order or anything because that would have been a pain in the ass. I know, because I've done this exact same bullshit. He was like, "Is that what you're getting?" Like referring to like my $1 drink. And I said, yeah, that's all I'm getting. He's like, "Oh, you good then?" And I'm like, "Oh, really? Hell yeah." Like, I would have gotten it for free anyways, technically. But also, like, I didn't get a chance to flex my membership. I subscribed to my gas station's OnlyFans, and I get free soda. So yeah, doing that, like, I'm just avoiding drinking straight soda. Plus, it's cheaper, like $2 for a soda, while, you know, $6 a month for one drink a day, and I work 12 days a month. It's a pretty good deal. But that day was so fucking soul crushing. It was like 5 in the afternoon. I finally got done with my basic paperwork that I'm usually done with by 11 o'clock. And I just say, you know what? No. I'm getting a soda. That was an artistic recreation of the events. I don't have a soda on me. I like waking up at 5 in the morning. I'm the weirdest motherfucker. Like, I just don't go anywhere usually. I'm satisfied with just enjoying daylight when I see it. So being like up before daylight happens, it just feels nice to just look and be like, yeah, I'm enjoying every second of this motherfucker. It's kind of the point where I kind of get unreasonably pissed when I wake up at like 6:30 in the morning because the sun's already out. And I'm like, you motherfucker sneaking up on me. Oh yeah, and something that I actually learned about pretty recently is, remember when I was talking about the ball last episode? And I was making comparisons to Portal in a few places because that's just the time it came out in. It was definitely Portal vibes coming off that game. A friend of mine sent me a video that was like, hey, did you know the ball had a cross promotion with fucking Portal? So there was literally just a Portal themed level set in the ball. It's just perfect. I have not gone back to the ball. I, to be honest, did not. In my current predicament, there's just other things I'd rather do than the ball. If I didn't have my classes, I would be on the ball any day. I'd fucking pound out the ball in like an afternoon, if anything. But such a fucking child. I have a literal 3-year-old piloting a fucking 10-ton machinery. I actually saw something recently. It's kind of like a extension of the Dr. Livesey walk meme. I've just been infatuated with that meme, to be honest. Partly because I'm a sucker for like a really good animation. That walk is a fucking ballin' animation. And when I found out that movie came out in 1988, I've been like looking into the Dr. Livesey meme stuff just because I like seeing the artist representations of like them trying to like do the meme. It's kind of funny, and especially seeing like a lot of talent going into recreating these things. I think it's cool. But one thing I wasn't expecting is the voice actor for Dr. Livesey in that. He's still alive, and he was like 36 at the time that happened. Dude's like pushing 80 now. He looks fucking great. Granted, I don't know like if that was like recent footage I was looking at, because I also have no idea what he was talking about, or if he was even talking about that specifically. But yeah, it was just a video of the dude just talking, just in general, even if it wasn't about Dr. Livesey. And his fucking pure joy, his unadulterated fucking glee as an 80-year-old man just talking about, presumably, some role he played back in 1988.
До свидания. У вас сердце никуда. Ох, зубки гниловатой печени тоже мой друг. Тут нет никаких собак. Живите дружно. Здравствуйте. А вот я, доктор Листья.
It made me so happy. Like, I feel nothing but just happiness when I watched that clip. Because he seems like such a lovely man. Just from that one, minute and a half clip of him talking. God, I loved it. I actually did watch the movie too. The Russian. Those are sub for it on YouTube. Although parts of it are just gone because, well, they're there but blocked in America for some reason. Only parts of it. But I gotta hand it to them. That was a fucking incredible animation. That movie fucked. It was so good. Mostly as far as animation standpoint, I don't know how, true it was to the actual Treasure Island because I've never read that book. I didn't even know the Treasure Planet movie was also based off Treasure Island. So that shows how much I fucking know. But like, it had good gags. I think the dialogue, you don't even need like subtitles really to understand it. To a degree. Like I think subtitles were able to convey enough information that you perfectly understood all the jokes, every last joke, because it was a ton of visual humor.
And now I'm going to interject with clear-voiced me here, because I realized I never finished talking about that film because I did not want to sit in my driveway for the next, 15 minutes at almost 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, that film was just weird as fuck. Sometimes it would cut to bands, live-action bands, playing music based off of some events. I believe right before, the scrawny dude beats the ever-living shit out of someone 5 times his size, it's plays a song about eating vegetables and doing push-ups, which is the explanation for why he absolutely decks the fuck out of someone because he ate healthy. And the animation quality also goes all over the place. Sometimes they do these weird little paper cutout things because it was a small studio. They had a very small budget to my understanding. And then sometimes they'll go back and reanimate some of those parts. One episode ends in a basic paper cut, talking. Then the next part will just pick up where that scene started, but it'll be completely reanimated. And God, the use of perspective and emotion, I really can't describe how fucking good it is other than just showing it. They do a really good job at giving characters like John Silver such an intimidating aura just through the use of perspective, making him seem way more powerful and bigger than he really is. Yeah, that shit was great, man. I highly recommend it. Just don't watch the English one because, yeah, the voices and sound effects they add are just nowhere near as good. It feels too much like a kid's cartoon at that point, rather than almost a more serious story, but just with the light-hearted characters and kind of some spectacle going on.
Alright. Boy, do I have a tale to tell today about the fucking amazing sandwich vending machine. That's right. I won't fucking stop until I have partaken in the entire menu. I still think it's at this point maybe 2 or 3 more things in there. But this one was a doozy. It was. I'll prepare you for the experience that this was. It was a quinoa veggie wrap with red pepper and hummus. That, on its surface, sounded neat. And when I looked at it from the transparent screen, window, whatever, it looked nice, actually, I would say. When it said red pepper, I thought it was like the red pepper you'd get in a fucking Italian restaurant. Why did my car start playing jazz? Oh, hell yeah, let's go with this. Yeah, let's chill for a second, guys. This is Watercolors by Walter Beasley. You're listening to 98.5 Vivid Dragon in the afternoon. Alright, enough, enough of that. I don't know why my car started playing jazz. I do not turn the radio on, and it was not on this morning. Anyways, before I got horribly fucking distracted. Yeah, I thought like all the little specks on there was the red pepper you get at like a fucking Italian place. Motherfucker, stop making noises, car. Jeez. Yeah, one of those fancy cars. It's a fucking Camry. It's nice. It's not fancy though. I don't really care for modern cars and modern car technology these days. Give me a fucking, like, SL500. Like, good ass 97 car. God, I'm horribly getting so fucking distracted just trying to talk about a sandwich. I do not get much good sleep and working 13-hour days. Recipe for success in terms of coherent thoughts. But regardless, yeah, it's like the red pepper you get like Italian restaurants or like pizza places and shit. But no, turns out quinoa is like a seed. Oh my god. I'm sure, maybe quinoa could be nice, but the idea of a cheap sandwich that uses seeds as like a base, oh, that just does not sound remotely appealing. And it wasn't. I did not finish that sandwich, and I am a fucking monster when it comes to food. Like, I hate wasting food. First off, so I'll eat things even if they're bad, just so I can like absorb the nutrients and be like hungrily satisfied, even if I might not enjoy the eating experience. But also, I just enjoy weird shit. I worked at a fast food place, and like, I worked at an Arby's, and one sandwich I ate, God, I could probably talk about all of the fucking Arby's stories. I might just do that, because fuck, I have so many from working there for 6 years. But I had a sandwich that was literally everything on it. All of our sauces, barbecue, garlic aioli, red wine vinegar, fucking mayonnaise, tzatziki sauce, Polynesian sauce, although we call it red ranch there, but it basically just tastes like Chick-fil-A's Polynesian sauce. Ooh, trying to think, cheese sauce, straight Thousand Island, everything. You had 4 kinds of cheese, Swiss, cheddar, fucking provolone. Actually, we haven't had provolone in years. That might have just been the two cheeses and the nacho cheese. And had every meat: brisket, corned beef, lamb shavings, chicken tenders. I think I put mozzarella sticks on it too. Like, I put it literally had everything in the store in one sandwich. Why? Because I didn't sleep for 3 days in a row, and I asked my friends on Discord, hey, what do I eat at Arby's? And they said everything. And I said, go fuck yourself, I'm eating everything. I think I might still have this recording saved. I'm not gonna play it because I'm not gonna show my face. But I almost certainly have the pictures, and I'm gonna send it because holy fuck. Like, it was a lot, as you can tell. How did I fit it on a bread? I didn't. I took a sub roll, toasted the fuck out of it so it didn't get moist, and then I just opened it up, and it was like a bread plate. I made an open face. I basically made an open face meat mountain, a meat sauce and cheese mountain. Whew. You know what? While I'm here, random side note: if you ever go to an Arby's and you want something to hate yourself with, there is a thing called a meat mountain. It's like a hidden menu item that they, on the very rare occasion, advertise. As far as I'm aware, at least for my restaurant, you could order anytime. It's just a sandwich with every single meat on the menu, on it. I didn't have any sauce. I think it had all the cheese too, but I could be wrong. I think it had at least had cheddar. And yeah, it's like $10 in Florida dollars just for the sandwich. It's probably like $12 now, because that was like years ago last time I heard the price. So yeah, that was a roundabout way of me saying I am a fucking dumpster. Not only am I a dumpster fire, but I'm the dumpster itself. So yeah, there are still some things I just will not eat. And that was one of them. I took 3 bites. I tried to force myself to eat it. I'm like, do it for the African children who don't get food, like Mama always says. But I couldn't. I'm sorry, Africa, I failed you. You couldn't even, like, it actually could have been good if the hummus was, like, there. I tasted 0 hummus. Like, if the hummus was decent and had, like, a strong enough flavor, it could kind of, like, overpower some of the stuff. Because I love hummus. But that was not good. That was so not good. It was awful. And yeah, it was like a case of just outside of that bad ingredient, like a bad base, it had like everything else that was like bad on a sandwich, kind of like the Caesar wrap. Lettuce, tomatoes, the wrap itself, because it was another fucking wrap, because I didn't learn my lesson from the goddamn Caesar wrap. It's like a grilled cheese, a regular burger, and that might be about it. Oh no, there's a horseradish and roast beef sandwich. So I might finish on that one. Get a bit of like Arby's nostalgia going, you know? Yeah. There's also like Lunchables and those like prepackaged crackers and tuna salad mix you can like kind of do yourself, which is interesting. But I'm not gonna grab that because actually I might, because the Lunchables might be cheaper than they are in the supermarket. Because everything has been like $2.50 and I feel like Lunchables are like $3 now. Lunchables are fucking expensive. They always were when I was a kid. I always wanted Lunchables, but my mother said no, it's too expensive. And I you know what? I understand now. I apologize for wanting so many fucking Lunchables. I didn't get that many, because I listen to my mother sometimes. Also, Lunchables are terrible. I'm sorry. Lunchables are fucking bad. Like, they were... I don't know why. I guess it's the idea of like being a fucking elementary school kid and saying, "Yeah, I have a personal pizza to eat for lunch. So good, because it's a pizza." And you just have no taste as a fucking kid. At least me, I scarfed down everything except for like the one thing I'll selectively hate. I don't think I've ever. It took me so long to like eggplants. I still do. I'm trying to think of something I have. Okay, blueberries. I think just most berries, I've just always hated. It took me until like a couple of years ago to really get into raspberries. I've never eaten a blackberry. I've never eaten a cherry. I've never eaten a blackberry or a blueberry. I still say I hate them. Okay, well, this is a lie. I've had blueberries in like a blueberry muffins, but you know, that's when like they're kind of just melted into the fucking bread, and when you bite them, it's practically die at that point because it's just fucking melted inside it, so it has a blueberry flavor. Part of it might just be the texture. It just looks weird, eating like a goo ball. That's how you see them. They're like goo balls. Except raspberries. Those are little finger hats that taste good. Always gotta make a little finger hat out of a fucking raspberry. Always. Why would they be hollow on the inside if you're not supposed to fucking do that? Tell me. Exactly. And don't give me this science bullshit of, oh, you know, when it's pulled from the stem and, you know, removed and cored out proper for human. No. That's what Big Raspberry wants you to think. They don't want you to know that they're selling you tiny hats. All I'm saying is, put a raspberry on top of a rat's head and tell me that was not meant to be. Random side note, because my job like pays well and it's not a fast food job. You know what? Actually, I was thinking, man, I'm tired, but I might just like actually tell some fucking Arby's stories. Good lord, the drama working at that place. It was so fucking good, dude. There were these 2 people I worked with, and I'll start this. I'll try and start every time I talk about someone else's. I don't hate anyone as a person, nor do I like dislike them. I don't even like talking bad about them behind their back, kind of deal. Outside of very few individuals who genuinely did some really scummy shit. Like, even someone who literally stole from the company and potentially put, maybe without even thinking, several people, like, under, like, watch because of that, because they thought they were stealing the money, just by sheer process of elimination. They were not bad people, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's obviously hard to say, okay, this person is stealing, but so why are they doing it? So on and so forth. But they definitely cared about people. They were never an asshole at any point. They were very amicable. Maybe that was a ruse. Maybe I'm being naive. I don't know. That's why I don't like assuming, presuming, and just talking ill of people. So in this case, and this will extend to my descriptions. I might exaggerate them slightly, but I kind of saying it like it is to some degree, which could include like certain characteristics like overweight and stuff like that, which leads me into Ornstein and Smog, which is what I called this pair, because they were these two friends always together, super lanky, really like fast and nimble person, and then just like a really wide fucking person who could like bulldoze you if need be. They were always together, this like bunch of teenagers, and their work ethic was not the best. They would just show up to work late, maybe not show up at all sometimes, and according to my general manager, who I'm very close with, so she kind of shared a fair bit with me, they apparently said that they were complaining about like their hours. But it's like, listen, you never show up with the hours we give you, so why give you more? So I think they eventually quit because of that. That tends to be the case with a lot of people who don't really care about the job too much. And yeah, these people, they would cause so much trouble. They would vape everywhere they could. And I swear they were like doing some shit on purpose. They would, after they got fired basically for vaping constantly in the bathrooms during work, they would come to the restaurant, both of them together, go to the bathroom, and just start lighting their fat vapes up. And then after like a half hour, they would leave. I think we should have called the cops on them several times because we should have banned them from coming to the store after the first time, and they kept doing it. We never caught them, but it's like, I appreciate that level of dickishness to just do that. Like, they kept coming specifically to the place they got fired from for vaping to just keep vaping in the bathroom. They could vape literally anywhere. Vaping is not fucking illegal. They specifically wanted to do it in an Arby's bathroom, and I love that. There was also another guy. This was years ago. He was like a super nice dude. Absolutely nice. He had like his like shirt was like a fucking whiskey bottle, but it had it talked about like cats and onion rings or some shit. Like, it was an adorably pleasant shirt. Everything about that man was nice. Then he went to the bathroom and he fucking scratched graffiti into the baby changing station. He didn't just scratch it into the wall, so it was graffiti, like with a permanent marker, but he also scratched it in after the fact. So even if you cleaned it, there was still the fucking words, like, I think he just wrote hell and then left. Was it a dare? I don't know. And I know it was him because I had just cleaned that bathroom. There was no one there because it was a night shift, and no one fucking comes to the fucking diner during night, pretty much. So I go in there after that because I need to use the restroom, and I just see that, and I fucking died laughing. Okay, actually, I remember now. It was a whiskey shirt. It was a whiskey bottle, but it was about like cats, so it's called like Whiskers or whatever. And he ordered onion rings because he was that memorable that even like 4 or 5 years ago, I still remember this guy. like, it was so just amazing, the contrast of what happened. Like, that man wanted to cause trouble in an Arby's, and I respect that. It took me so long to clean that, too. I was laughing the whole time. I love that job.